The narrative surrounding the West's history is evolving as people begin to recognize that it is not merely a simplistic portrayal of cowboys versus Indians, as often depicted in media and popular culture. Those who have studied Western history are likely familiar with the term Custer's Last Stand, which refers to a significant battle that occurred in what is now Montana in late June 1876. The account describes Custer, a celebrated Civil War hero and officer in the 7th Cavalry, being ambushed by a large group of Native Americans led by Sitting Bull, resulting in a devastating defeat for Custer and his men. Iconic images depict him valiantly fighting until the end, surrounded by fallen comrades and his horse, with a pistol in each hand. This event sent shockwaves across the nation and prompted the U.S. military to intensify efforts against Native nations, framing them as adversaries obstructing the progress of innocent settlers. However, what is often omitted from textbooks is that these settlers were present illegally, as the land where the battle occurred had been promised to the Lakota Nation forever under the Treaty of Fort Laramie, a claim that the Lakota continue to assert. Thus, the native people were rightfully defending their territory, while the military opted to protect the settlers who were violating treaty law instead of enforcing it. Furthermore, Custer was not deceived, nor was he ensnared in a trap. He was fully aware of the situation, having dispatched his scouts, and he recognized the presence of a settlement comprising men, women, and children along a river known to the Lakota as the Greasy Grass, referred to as the Little Bighorn by Western sources. He had previously achieved a military victory in 1868 at the battle against the predominantly Southern Cheyenne. Led by a figure named Black Cuttle, Custer engaged in open fire, taking prisoners, including women and children, whom he specifically targeted. In his 1874 publication, My Life on the Plains, he stated that he deliberately captured women and children to undermine the morale of the warriors he faced, and Custer aimed to replicate that violence. Therefore, when we reflect on Custer's Last Stand, or the Battle of the Little Bighorn, we ought to perceive it as a successful resistance by Native peoples against an attempted genocide. The Little Bighorn National Monument stands as a testament to this history. While there has always been a monument honoring the soldiers, there has been no recognition for the victors. Many students in American Indian Studies programs often overlook this aspect of history, leading to a perception that the land was unoccupied and available for acquisition. They fail to understand that it was inhabited by American Indian peoples who held a different view of land ownership, one based on communal sharing rather than individual possession. This narrative contributes to the portrayal of the Wild West, depicting American Indians as savages, which in turn justifies the need for their conquest and the appropriation of their land. This book raises the question of whether Custer truly did not play a significant role. The enduring impact of Custer's last stand in public consciousness can be attributed to the extensive media coverage it received, as well as the newspaper's significant influence in sensationalizing these events. Following the Civil War, Americans were eager for news related to military engagements, and Custer's fame contributed to this interest. He even ghost-wrote articles that were published under the guise of a correspondent, exaggerating his involvement, some of which were released posthumously with editors noting his authorship. Custer had become a prominent figure, but it was his widow, Elizabeth Custer, who truly captured the national imagination after his death by co-authoring a series of books about him. Additionally, Custer's image gained popularity through Wild West shows and early silent films, with Errol Flynn famously portraying him. By the time public education expanded and textbooks began to recount this history, Custer had already achieved legendary status. In the 1920s, the American Book Company, a leading textbook publisher, attempted to release a history book that excluded Custer, as the author argued that the battle lacked significance and did not alter military outcomes or westward expansion. However, booksellers in the Northern Plains insisted that the textbook would not sell without Custer's inclusion. It is crucial to consider how this historical period is perceived, especially in the context of education. History textbooks should not be confused with actual history books, which can be challenging for us to grasp at times, especially since they often represent the only historical literature we have encountered. Textbooks serve a distinct purpose. They are crafted to provide a specific perspective, particularly regarding American history. rather than merely recounting past events. Consequently, American history textbooks frequently overlook the reality that the framers of the Constitution and the Founding Fathers, who advocated for liberty, were also slaveholders. While this fact is occasionally acknowledged, students are seldom encouraged to confront this contradiction. This issue is similarly evident in the portrayal of Native American history. My great-great-grandmother was a young girl during the battle, approximately 16 years old, and she witnessed Custer's attack. This history was conveyed to me through my grandfather. Growing up in South Dakota and attending public school, I found that these narratives were not typically included in the classroom discussions, leading me to overlook the connection between my family's history and the curriculum we were studying. The portrayal of significant events like Custer's last stand in textbooks ultimately reshapes American identity, often at the expense of Native peoples and their sovereignty. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe to our channel to support our community.